Alright, yins guys, I'm gonna start reading this one. And I'm got a little disclaimer here, a reminder too, that I'm gonna remind you this each installment of this I read, which is, that reminder is gonna be like, for example, I'm already aware of what Russia was in the 60s, and more stuff can be found out if you look it up, as opposed to Russia back in the 60s and before the Russian Revolution happened and the communists took over. And I'm aware of the 60s old Russia and what Russia is today. So, and these were printed in 1961, and they do address Russia is one of the things that come in mind, but there's going to be other things mentioned now. These books were printed in the 60s, so this is an old book, and yet there is some information that applies today. So before you make any other kind of text comments criticizing me, anybody does, I'm going to say I'm going to remind you that I'm aware of that, and this is be cool to read this book anyway. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, start with the preface here. Okay, to help meet today's threat of communism, two things are necessary on the part of American citizens. The first requirement is the thinking of this country to know what communism is, what its aims are, how it operates, and why it is a challenge to our freedom. The second requirement is for the thinking people of this country to know and understand the basic values and concepts which undergird our American way of life, to know how to strengthen and improve our free competitive enterprise, and thereby to keep the country's increasingly productive and strong. The plain facts of life are these. If our free competitive enterprise system is not understood by American people, and if our economy is not kept strong and made to grow stronger, then our most effective weapon against communism will be gone. Our major advantage will be lost, and the balance of world power will be shifted to the side of Soviet Russia. And it's just like I said too, now, in today's thinking, we're worried about other countries there too. If you see on the news, Russia has all kind of other stuff going on, and I'm aware of that. So we got North Korea, which is a way smaller country, and so I'm aware of that. But this was written back then, but yet the spread of communism is being spread more clever and differently now. So anyway, it's the net. Okay. Where did I leave off? Okay, the National Chamber's Training and Action course, Freedom versus Communism: The Economics of Survival, is designed to keep you in the information you need to help meet the threat of communism effectively. By reading the pamphlets in this course and by taking part in the workshop meetings. So when this was issued, there were workshop meetings. So that's going to be something else for you and me to look up and find more about, which these books are going to be full of stuff like that. There's going to be information that's a piece of history, but at the same time outdated. And the purpose of me reading this would be so you guys can have fun and look things up now. And it's going to be an adventure, okay? These workshop meetings, and you will be preparing and equipping yourself to play a more constructive role in today's conflict, the battle for survival and economic freedom. And but anyway, I'm gonna just stop there for now at the preface, and I'm gonna tell you, because I'm doing this as I go too. I'm going to tell you the one thing too is, in my opinion, people, young kids want to turn to communism because they see, yes, there's a lot of, they associate capitalism with greed, and not all capitalism is bad, but there are some people I've seen on YouTube that want a lighter version of communism, that they'd like to do it differently. And like even one guy, if he's even watching now, even said that instead of taking guns away like some people have us believing what communism is, he said that he had his way, all citizens would have a gun in case there's a war. But there is different countries in the world that ban guns from people, but yet they have communist nature, and they want to do that and have guns and all that stuff. And I know that they have ways of checking. But even those countries, if there's any of them out there, if you want to look it up, if you have any other kind of opinions and you own a gun, then of course they're going to do something, either arrest you or discourage you somehow. But yet we're supposed to be a free country, but then they have ways of doing that or trying to do that here, you know what I mean, too. I mean, but the way they do it in this country, you can argue to say, oh, what kind of asshole is this saying this on YouTube? But they're not doing it in a country. We're still a free country. Well, they're doing it sneaky. Other kind of excuses, like say if you're even accused of doing something wrong, whether you did it or not. I mean, even Jim Quinn mentioned something. I heard him on the radio in some cases that certain little things that they could ban you from owning a gun. But that's one of the examples. But anyway, what I wanted to say too is like that the younger kids that want communism, doing away with capitalism isn't the answer, and imposing communism, because look what happened. North Korea, Cuba, you got those people that me and my girlfriend were watching on the History Channel. Some of the people that are Americans that moved to and were living in Cuba were actually fought to overthrow the government and put Castro and Che Guevara in power. And there was some interviews on that documentary on the History Channel. They said that if they knew it was going to turn into what Cuba is now, that they wouldn't. They didn't. They said, in so many words, they were saying, we never fought for that. We weren't fighting for that. And I mean, that's what I saw this on a History Channel. But yes, some of the young kids that want communism now, they see the crookedness that goes on, and they think all capitalism is like that. And yes, the only reason capitalism looks bad, and after all, capitalism, if you and me want to sell something and start a business, I mean, that with communism you can't do that. But it's not, these kids that want communism, they got to realize, really, in my opinion, it's not capitalism they're at war with. It's really the crookedness, the crooked people that are making the capitalism look bad and look greedy. I mean, some people, they just want to start a business, and I mean, I don't know if you would really call that capitalism. Say if like you and me want to start a business, and then we want to do right by the consumer, like some bigger businesses don't, and some get away with shady practices, and even there's other kind of mafia type practices going on, and sneakiness. Oh yeah, and there is the thing too that the smaller businesses, they're being heaped with taxes, and the bigger businesses are getting away with paying less taxes. There's that issue going on there. But when you look at it, how in the hell really is communism really going to solve that problem? Really, all it does is restrict people. But then there are some people that are arguing, like there are some people on YouTube that if their version of communism, they wouldn't do all that. And there was one guy on there that I saw on YouTube once that was, in comment I seen him anyway, that he was saying, oh, he does not condone the totalitarian behavior and crap like that a lot of the other people that are leaders of communism do. That there is the proposition that if you had your version, these people had their version of communism, they'd go a different way. But then I also, in my opinion too, I actually had a lot of videos and different things and books on the Russian martial art too. And they did little videos too about how Soviet Russia, the old Soviet Russia, banned the citizens from practicing martial arts. They didn't just take guns away. They anybody other than the army, if you weren't in the army or special forces and you were a citizen and you started practicing martial arts, like, you can go to jail or God knows what else, you know what I mean? But yeah, one of the intro videos in the system of martial art said just that. So go figure, you know. So yeah, and then there was many different. Yeah, in this country, you know, we have Republicans and Democrats, the Republican Democratic Party, and shoot, we have communist parties and supporters in this country, and even like Nazi parties and all that too. But then other countries, but we have things that we have it set up for checks and balances. So no one person gets too powerful. That's what's supposed to happen. But even that's gonna starting to go to hell lately. But yeah, you got other countries unlike ours that some of them are called a democracy and some of them are called a republic. But if one of them, say, for example, you can have several countries that are republic, but their version of definition of republic and their practices are different than this other country that calls itself a republic, and so on. Yeah, there's a lot of republics. There's banana republics, and there's many different countries that practices that they say they're a republic, but they operate differently than this other country that's a republic. Some of them are stricter rules and different things that you can and can't do and can and can't say. It varies from country to country, you know what I mean? But in my opinion, there's got to be some way without having you can't have some full-blown communism because it restricts people too much. And I understand what people don't like about capitalism, because it's not capitalism that's bad, it's just the wrong people, like the crooked people, have all the advantages, and people like you and me that start a business, we'd be paying more taxes and paying out the ass. That's what it really is. So how the hell is really this communism going to solve that problem, you know what I mean? But anyway, okay, I'm 13 minutes into this video, so next video I'm going to read the next installment. So oh, and I almost forgot, I was watching on YouTube one day one of them History Channel documentaries, and it was about the Russian mob, and back when here's what your people that support Stalin. Now I'll tell you what the precious Stalin and communism did. There were members of the Russian mob, prisoners, whom I guess during World War II Stalin got prisoners, made these people and the soldiers say, if you join the army, we'll give you your freedom if you serve in the army, you know what I mean? You know, if you become a soldier in World War II and all that. But right after the war, these guys would have been better off if they fled to another country or something, because the ones that survived that did go back, so much for their promise of freedom, because as soon as Stalin got what he wants, Stalin goes, not, in our terms, not, or psych, or so I lied, or whatever the hell he actually said, but he went back on his word.